Every decision we make is facilitated by its significance to us. What will I gain if I start that business? What will I gain if I buy that product? What will I gain if I have children? In other ways, it's facilitated by what we will lose. Because if we find out what we will lose in terms of emotion and time and finances or even pride by engaging in certain things, we will stay away from those ones. And therefore, whether we are making that decision based on the gains and the benefits that this action or connection will present, or because we are not getting into that decision and action because of what we may potentially lose, there is a social psychology term called framing, which looks at gain framing versus loss framing as part of the things that motivate or discourage us from engaging in actions, in relationships and connections with people or things or opportunities. When you make that decision to enlist your child into a school, you check the school out. You check that school out because you want to ensure that the mission statement meets the needs and expectations of what you want for your child. It meets the ethical needs, the academic needs, and the social education that your child will gain from that institution. You look at the inspection reports from past years. You look at the history of graduations and children and just the general reputation of that school and even its location in the community. The same goes for churches. What church do you attend? Do you even attend a church? Because your decision to or not to do that is based on what you feel will be the gain or loss of you attending that institution or that opportunity or getting into that relationship. Does it have anything for you? Does it have a loss for you, or does it have a huge benefit that is worth exploring against all the odds or challenges that it could also potentially present? Because that's the thing. One person sees a gain framing and the other sees a loss framing in potentially the same things. You want a baby, but you don't want to go through the motions of pregnancy, leaving your job, what you have to give up, the emotion, the sleepless nights, and somebody will look at the loss framing and decide that they don't want children because they don't have it to give and they don't want to put the children through that. But other people see nothing but the value that a child brings to their life, because when you look at that specific issue, you see it through the lens of the gain of what it will bring to you and how it aligns with your dreams and your hopes and your expectations. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. My name is Aso, and I welcome you warmly to my channel. I appreciate my returning subscribers. I appreciate the motivation and the feedback that you give me week after week. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and join us. We want to hear from you. And click the like button if you find this useful, and even share it to impact on the lives of those that are in your own corner. Today we are talking about gain and loss framing because it impacts every decision that we make. And sometimes other people make those choices for us by carefully presenting opportunities to us in a way that stacks the gains over the loss, or in a way that stacks the loss over the gain, so that you look at that decision and you don't see the point of engaging. And it's left for you to unpick those presentations and make up your decision for yourself. Let's take relationships, for example. When you meet somebody, you anticipate their discussions or presentation based on what you feel about yourself and what you anticipate from a relationship. They are family oriented, they are stable, and they are decisive. Can be the gain for somebody who wants family roots, who wants that kind of a relationship with somebody. But for another free-spirited person who wants no ties, who wants to be able to travel the world for months at a time without worrying about siblings or children and other attachments, will see that family-oriented person as a loss to what aligns to them. And that's something that we have to be really careful about when we make connections and make decisions around who we involve or spend the rest of our lives with. What is the gain stacking? What is the framing around your relating to that person? And what is the reality in terms of what you can potentially gain from that person? How much of that decision is based around their presentation of themselves to you? Because their presentation comes along with what they want for themselves. Does that align with what you want for yourself? And that's your framing to make. Because when we buy other people's framing, we're sailing blind. We're ignoring what aligns with us until sometimes potentially we become blatantly aware of that when it's really late, and we find that time after time the decisions or actions of that connection or relationship are not meeting our own needs. Be self-critical in your decisions and your actions, and make those decisions about what those things are worth to you and the outcomes of those actions to your well-being and your growth and empowerment. And that will really guide you towards a healthy lifestyle. And finally, be intentional in the way you select opportunities, in the way you accept opportunities, because not all of them are well-intended. And even some of the well-intended ones do not align with your expectations and your circumstances. So you have to welcome them and appreciate them, but also be selective. Be really honestly selective in what you adopt and what you reject. Because at the end of the day, you are the champion of your own life, and everyone else comes to support and also in some cases to destabilize, and you need to be conscious of all of those things. Look at your self-treatment in terms of rest, exercise, outings, and everything that impacts on you, mind, soul, and body, and criticize and evaluate and change some of those actions and their implications on you from you before you even go around and evaluate what's coming from the external. And finally, look at your goals in terms of business and financial and family goals. Evaluate their input into your life and do something about it. Because at the end of the day, every action that you take has to align with some healthy expected outcomes. And for that to happen, you have to first have a clear knowledge of what healthy is. Because sometimes we just take those actions because they were handed over to us. We take them because they are what is available. We take them because they are social expectations or because they are popular. And we take them because we doubt ourselves. But if you're guided by outcome, if you're guided by the gain framing versus the loss framing, and always ensure that it's not coming from a place of low self-esteem or low self-worth, but actually from, if wishes were horses and you could have what you want, what would you pick from any of the things that present to you or any of the things that you seek for yourself. And that will always guide you to favorable landing grounds.